Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to talk more about growth mindset today because it's important. Okay, I really don't like this thing. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of weird. Maybe I just don't know how to do it. I like this thing. So, anyways, I'm going to talk about growth mindset. So the past 2 days I've talked about growth mindset. I've talked about our initial reaction journaling, and I've talked about what exactly is a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Now, when I'm talking about any of these items, I want you to please note that I have my own handy dandy mirror right here looking back at me. So I am going to tell you these things, but I am also a student of growth mindset myself, because I too struggle with fixed mindset thoughts. So today I'm going to talk about the 7 common fixed mindset thoughts. And why am I going to do that? Because I think it's important for you to understand what a fixed mindset is and what are the thoughts associated with it. So again, I don't really know what I'm doing with these things. I like to roll it on my face. I know you're supposed to always go up. Okay. So here to the 7 common fixed mindset thoughts. The first one, all or none. All or none. It's black or white. There's no gray area. You can either do it or you cannot do it. That is exactly what a fixed mindset is. Like, I can't do it or I can do it. There's no willing to try, there's no willing to practice. And it's a lot of times it's stuff people think they should be able to already do. Okay, all right. But again, remember, growth mindset is just a belief that your efforts, your qualities, your abilities are only a starting point, and that they can be cultivated through efforts, strategies, and help from others. So if you were just thinking, oh, I'm done, that's a fixed mindset thought. So the number 2 thought is viewing your efforts negatively. So what does this mean? This means that you are saying negative self-talk. You're giving yourself negative self-talk. You're saying, I'm stupid, I'll never get this, I can't do this. Can't is the operative word right there, because can't means, if you don't know the definition of can't, it means unable. Can is able to. I can do this. I can't do this means I am unable to do this. I had a gymnastics teacher when I was, I think, like 6 or 7, and she said, I remember this to the day, because I don't like my children to say can't, is that she said, if you say can't, you're going to have to do some V sit-ups, and those are not fun. And she said, can't means you aren't able to do it. And as little girls in gymnastics, if you had an able body, you are able to do it. So she didn't want you to say can't. She was very growth mindset there. So I can't do this means, if you think that to your head, that is definitely negative self-talk. And you are viewing your efforts negatively. The third one is you have perfectionism standards. I have no idea who would have that. I do. And I'm opening another little sample that I received. Again, don't really know what I'm doing with these things, but it feels good. And I like to put them back in ice so they're nice and cold. So this is just a peptide cream, which I'm going to rub on my face, and then I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more. So the third is perfectionism standards, like I mentioned. you can't believe, or excuse me, I can't do something because I don't have what they have, or I don't have it all figured out, or my body's not the right shape, one of mine, or my teeth aren't straight enough, my stomach's not flat enough, my feet aren't small enough. I mean, just any of those things. You don't have it all figured out. It's not perfect, so I can't do it. That is definitely a perfectionism standard. And you also have to go the other way and say, you know, you don't have it all figured out, so you can't go forward with this. This happens a lot to entrepreneurs, I would say, because they don't have it all figured out right away. Now, a lot of them figure it out as they go, and they find out, like, oh, it's actually better to go into it blind, because if I would have known that this was going to be hard, then I probably wouldn't have done it. So having that perfectionism standard and not having a plan in place and not understanding that is actually a fixed mindset thought. Again, this, I want you guys to realize that this is a mirror. It's a mirror right here. I am saying this stuff right back to myself. It's one of my big things that I like to tell people is that, you know, I'm holding a mirror right back up onto me. I really am. So the fourth one is magnification of your mistakes. 1000% guilty. You make a mistake, and maybe it's a minor mistake. Maybe it's a minor mistake. Maybe it's something you put your foot in your mouth and, oh my God, I am so sorry. Like, and you're like, I'm never going to recover from this. I am not. You know, you make it out to be such a huge mistake. Kids are really good about this. I remember when I was young, and you know, something happened. I think I backed into a mailbox, honestly. And I was terrified to go home and tell my parents. Absolutely terrified. And then the gentleman that lived there, like, ran out and, you know, yelled at me and, you know, told me, like, I better go home right away and tell my parents. And I was devastated, but I was terrified because I was like, oh my gosh, my life is over. And I know so many people think like that. They magnify their mistakes so greatly. But we have to remember that mistakes are just for lessons. They really are. They're just lessons for you to learn. The fifth one is very similar to magnification of mistakes. It's also the minimization of mistakes. So when you minimize a mistake, it might be a critical mistake that you made, but you're like, oh, it's not that big a deal. No one will ever know that I did that. I see this a lot in, you know, a corporate world where, you know what, they made a huge mistake and it got covered up. They minimized it, and it didn't have the lesson behind it. Had they have made the mistake a little bit bigger than it was. Yes, there are huge mistakes that happen. Yes, everyone makes mistakes. We are all human. There is no one that does not make any mistakes. But if you magnify those mistakes or you minimize those mistakes, you are magnifying something that's not necessary. And then if you minimize it, you're not going to truly learn that lesson, in my thoughts. So it is imperative that you understand that we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and that they are just a part of life. Okay? And they're lessons to come and learn from them. Now I think about that, but there could be a whole other conversation on that mistake piece. So, Melissa, I think we might have to talk about like that one discussion point that we were laughing about with the magnification and minimization of mistakes. That might be a good one. Yep, see, there's my train of thought, just randomly rolling on. So that was 5 of the common fixed mindset items. The sixth one is viewing others as judges for praise or criticism, which is interesting, right? because we think, oh, we want all the praise, don't we? From others. We want to feed. And that's feeding our ego. It's feeding our confidence. It is. But what about the reverse of that? So we have all of those, judges that are giving us praises, but we also have the judges that are giving us the criticisms. So you're viewing others as judges for praise or criticism, and you want that. You feed off of that, and that's your thought. And you don't want this. You don't need that, because again, it goes back to who you are as a person and your mindset and everything. And I'm reading right now Jamie Kern Lima, Jamie Kern Lima's book Worthy, and it talks about your self-worth. And I think this is a vital item to talk through your self-worth, about the viewing of others as judges or as praise for criticism. It's imperative that you know that you are worthy of whatever you want, okay? And don't worry about anybody judging you. Again, have my mirror right here looking right back at me. The last one, the seventh one, is competitive comparison of your peers. Remember when we talked about initial reaction journaling, and I asked you how your thoughts were what's your initial reaction to failures and successes of your peers? What's your initial reaction? And you can either, sometimes your initial reaction might be, ugh, they only got that because of X, Y, and Z, or I'm so much better than that, and they're better than me, or, just all these opposite thoughts. You find that competitiveness between you two. And really, we have to go back to the understanding that we are all individuals. We are all human, and we all have a different physiological makeup. We have a physiological different minds. We grow differently at every different level. So it's imperative that we understand that it's not a competition. Not a competition. One of my favorite quotes is, flowers don't compete to bloom the first. Just because the flower next to you is blooming doesn't take away the fact that you're gonna bloom too, right? No, it doesn't. And there is so much of this out there. These are the seven common fixed mindset thoughts. So it's the all or nothing. It's the viewing your efforts negatively. It's the perfectionism standards. It's the magnification of mistakes, the minimization of mistakes, the viewing others as judges for that praise and that criticism, and that competitive comparison with your peers. So if you're having these thoughts, these are fixed mindset thoughts. And it's nothing is wrong. Absolutely nothing is wrong. Everyone has them. Again, I have my mirror right here telling me, looking right back at me, because I'm talking to myself as well, is that if you're having these fixed mindset thoughts, that's okay. Just become aware of them. That's the first step, is just to become aware of them. Like my first step with what I want to do, with my goals and my efforts for my life, it's part of doing these videos and getting this out there. Just communicating better, talking about topics that I love and that make me laugh and that are silly. So I'm going to continue on, and the next growth mindset we'll talk about the 7 common antidotes to those fixed mindset thoughts. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into those fixed mindset thoughts and what are some growth mindset items that can help you if you start to think those thoughts. Okay? Till then, we'll talk to you soon.